Hello and welcome to the Big Bang Theory podcast. My name's John. I'm here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Hello.
Hello, Dan. It's our first podcast since the season kicked off. We've been on holiday. You have, I have.
Yeah.
Separately.
Yeah.
But, joined across...
Doing our own thing.
Doing our own... I wonder if people listening think we're like Bert and Ernie.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. It would be natural to assume that in a way, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because you only know us as a duo. They don't know anything about what we do on our own.
Looking for Rubber Ducky, etc. Anyway, that didn't happen.
Morecambe and Wise.
Torval and Dean.
Yes, yeah.
All the great duos. And now
Cooper
us.
and Webb.
Sure. Got no more.
Well, there's loads, but let's crack on because there's a lot to talk about.
So the season started with a...
Should we just have a very quick rundown of events?
Oh, yeah, all right. Chronological.
Since we've recorded.
Do you mean about our holidays or the game?
We could do that at the end.
Oh, okay. Quick rundown. Season started. Did we sign some players in advance of the season?
I think we signed both these before the start of the season, but they weren't in the... Well, one of them is Jack Bycroft, sub-keeper.
Yeah.
Welcome.
But he's not a dead duck like perhaps Sean McDonald was. He's got a bit of pedigree, got a bit of quality...
Right.
Some experience. I could see him challenging McMillan to some extent.
I
Not
can't
McMillan.
where he was.
Why can't I get his name right? Whitworth. I can see him challenging Whitworth to some extent. Where was he? He's played
Jimmy
some
Woolworths. Yeah. But, so he's in. Welcome.
Welcome, Jack.
I don't know if we'll ever see him, but we might. And then we signed Doyle Hayes.
Yeah.
First name?
Jake?
Could be.
We'll look it up. Yeah, that's right. And he's come from the League of Ireland, from Shamrock Rovers, I think.
It is Jake.
Yeah.
No, from Sligo.
Oh, Sligo, that's right.
And before that, he was at sort of various... Was he at a Scottish team? I can't remember exactly. And then he was injured by the manager in training and he's suing them. Is that right?
Yeah, Hibs, I think.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because that's how he knows Caldwell, right? Because he also played there under him.
Oh, I'm not sure.
I think that might be true.
Okay.
Anyway, that's a strange sequence of events, but I think that's right.
And he is Irish, isn't he?
He is Irish.
Yeah.
He's a Villa youngster.
Okay.
But yeah, most recently he'd been over in playing for Sligo, and obviously they have a different season to us. So he's been there for 6 months, and he's been right. This is it. They're in the middle of their season now,
Yeah.
so he's kind of pretty much didn't play in that Doncaster game, but basically got up to speed. So that's that. They're the two players we brought in.
Yeah.
Then we played the first game of the season away at Doncaster.
Yeah, newly promoted Doncaster, and we rewarded them with their promotion and their, I guess, underdog status.
Well, it was a very gracious welcome to League One.
Really was.
Yeah.
Like in the old, was it Elizabethan era? It was, wasn't it? And they would take off their cloaks, Francis Drake, Walter Raleigh, and lay it over the puddle so that Queen Elizabeth I keep her shoes clean.
Yeah, chivalrous.
And it was an act of like, I know my position in life.
Yeah.
Gary's basically taken off his Adidas Pro Direct jacket and put it over a pile of horse dung and said to Grant McCann et al., please walk horse excrement through my jacket. No, I like it that way. No, please do so.
It doesn't matter. Don't worry about the jacket. Speaking of Caldwell's Adidas jacket,
yes.
He's actually... Well, he's in good nick.
As he often is.
Because of the old summer... Heads back up north to the missus, and she says...
Jen, we know her name to be.
State of this. Get yourself on the Peloton. Sharpish.
Peloton. We're paying for this subscription,
and
Gary.
He does as he's told,
not been using it
and
yet.
Gets himself into good nick, and he looks fantastic when he's all trimmed, doesn't he?
And when he's trimmed...
It takes 10 years off him.
Yeah, it does.
You should really try and keep it up.
Because he's my age, isn't he? 42.
Yeah.
And yeah, he looks so much better than me when he's all like sharp and...
He looks like he could still play.
Yeah, he does.
But have another look in 6 months. I don't think we'll be saying that.
Well, what's interesting is because while he's trim, he ditches the...
Well, he's got himself some lovely new threads. It all looks like he sort of like got it from Reese or something, doesn't it? It's all
not
kind of
Cole, but the shop.
Yeah, from Reese the shop. Yeah. Sort of lovely ivory kind of like fitted T-shirt for the first home game.
Yeah. Yeah, right, indeed. Anyway, he didn't mind about that being trampled into the tud by Doncaster Rovers. And we produced no shots on target and lost 1-0 to a 88th minute penalty, which, although wasn't a penalty, or very, very, very soft, we didn't deserve anything from the game, I would say.
No, I don't think we did. No, not at all. I mean, there was a chance, wasn't there, for Wareham squared one for Sonny Cox, and he missed it from about 2 yards out. But
that's right.
And we hit the bar, though. I think that probably came off one of their players. But yeah, other than that,
started with a defeat, wasn't it? And I thought, okay, that's the way it's going to be this season, and I embraced it, Dan. I thought, well, could be worse. Could live in Gaza City, you know. I'm just going to think, well, okay, fine. That's just the way it is. I'll get to go and watch my football team with my friends, and we can talk about it on here. Okay.
Yeah.
That was my attitude after that
Zen
game.
state.
I mean, it wouldn't last, of course, but that's how I felt at the time. I thought, okay, it's just going to be another season like this.
Yeah, it was a bit of a kind of begrudging acceptance, really, wasn't it?
Acceptance was the word, I think. Anyway, Gary said, accept this, and he whipped his Reese jacket off the floor, and he took it down Kenjo for a quick laundrette. It's not there anymore, is it?
No longer there. It's now called Wok Wok.
Yeah. Don't take it there. You're not going to get your clothes clean there.
I haven't eaten there, but it does look quite good. But I don't know if I'm getting kind of seduced by the lighting.
Well, yeah, I can understand that. It's
if anyone's
enticing
been to
lighting.
Wok Wok, maybe send us a review in.
Yeah, bigbankpod@gmail.com. Title your email, Wok Wok.
Yeah, just so we know what you're talking about.
So we know what we're talking about. And that's not my speech impediment, by the way. That's how it's pronounced.
Silver Spin is still going strong if you are looking for a dry cleaner.
Yeah.
Gary or anyone else.
Yeah, Gary went there. Perks took his... I'd imagine Perks has to take Gary's stuff up.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only... There was a murder in Silver Spin, wasn't there?
There was.
We're going back a bit here.
Do you think the perpetrator then, washed the evidence away in the...
Well, I mean,
the machine?
you'd think, wouldn't you? I mean, it's almost like, and I think, well, perfect crime.
What film is it where someone dies in a laundrette, tumble dryer, washing machine? Is it one of the Final Destinations?
Oh, I don't know.
I've got a recollection of a very poorly CGI'd face going round there.
I think there's an episode of Midsummer Murders where that happens.
Of course there is. Final Destination and Midsummer Murders, not that far apart, of course.
No. One's for young people, one's for old people.
Yeah.
That's basically the only difference.
Yeah, quite.
Yeah. So there was a murder in there, but on Saturday there was another murder.
Yeah.
And of all people to be talking about murders, it was former murder novel writer Steve Bruce.
Yeah.
Who this time was metaphorically murdered.
He didn't have to go far to look for the victim, did he?
No, by Colwell, who took the shackles off. Did he?
He certainly did.
It all clicked into place.
His metaphors all over the place because the shackle would unclick, but yeah, fine.
Yeah, we're mixing them up.
Yeah. Much like the designer of Blackpool's away shirt, who appeared to have crashed into the pallet.
I wondered how long it would be till we saw a worse shirt than the New City third one, and it didn't take long.
1 week. Yeah. So it was Blackpool at home, as you say, Brucey.
Oh, it was... We'll get into it, I suppose, but after the match, genuinely, I had forgotten what it felt like to come away from a football match having witnessed something like that.
Full of beans.
I had genuinely forgotten the feeling.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're sort of buzzing a bit, and you're like, oh yeah, this used to happen sometimes. And it's like, I'm not being facetious. I mean, I was like, oh, this is like I had completely forgotten what this felt like.
Well, I, for the first time in a long time, actively sought out and was waiting for the highlights.
I suppose the other time would be that FA Cup.
Sure.
But
that's a long time ago.
We didn't even win that.
No.
The Forest one.
No.
We didn't even win.
No, I was more interested in seeing what Ian Wright said about the raffle.
And that was all a bit all a bit strange, wasn't it? Anyway, it was like, it was... So we won 4-1.
Yeah, if you've missed it, it was a 4-1 victory. And
this was a combination of Caldwell getting the tactics for us, absolutely spot on. And Steve Bruce getting the tactics for Blackpool absolutely spot off. Because
much like in Kenjo or Silver Spin.
Yeah, pretty much. We cleaned his clock. We didn't do that. It was just two. They had. It was so we basically just had an extra man or two in midfield. Steve Bruce has gone. I tell you, hey, hello, guys. I can't do this. I can't do the accent. It's very softly spoken. Isn't it?
Yeah.
How do you do a northeast accent again?
Oh, I don't know.
Michael Kiwanuka.
Yeah.
He just said to his lads, I won't do the voice. Remember 1995? Alex Ferguson. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Good try.
He's literally going like, right, let's get back to the good old days. Let's get Brexit done.
Is Brucey a Brexit?
I don't know.
I don't think
4-4-2.
Yeah.
Big man, little man.
Yeah.
Route 1.
Yeah. We'll score on the corners.
Yeah.
Which they did do.
It worked with Giggsy and Hughesy and the rest of the lads.
Yeah.
Me and Pallister at the back.
Yeah.
You know.
Let me tell you a tale, lads.
It didn't work. It didn't work on Saturday. Did not work at all. So perfect storm of them getting it wrong, us getting it right, I think.
But don't forget, Blackpool are an expensively assembled squad. They've spent money like we could only dream of spending.
Yeah, but if you buy a Porsche and then fill it up with chip fat...
Very unkind on Steve to call him chip fat.
No, I'm not calling him chip fat. I'm calling his ideas chip fat. It's not going to run.
This is chip fat. This isn't like lovely see-through chip fat. This
the
is
Porsche isn't going to run, as well as it would with some, premium gasoline in there, is it?
No, it's not, and it did not. So we were 1-0 up after 4 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It was Reece Cole that got the goal. I think Wareham was causing trouble, as he did all game.
It's kind of a hook over the top from Aitchison.
Yeah.
And then Wareham,
knocked it across the box.
Knocked it across. It finds Reece Cole. You think he's taken it too far wide.
No.
He hasn't.
Slots it.
Bush.
Yeah. 1-0, 4 minutes. Couldn't believe it. Could you believe it?
No.
And I thought, okay, we'll shut down now for 86 minutes.
Well, that was when we were like, this would be interesting to see what happens next, wouldn't it? Because it was very clear that we were...
already all over them.
It was clear that our plan was going to work theirs and work better than theirs. And really, the blame lies with Steve Bruce because everyone could see that what was happening, and he did nothing to address it.
No. So we just kept the pressure on, didn't we? Niskanen was having space. Wareham was finding the ball at his feet. He was creating space for Cole, who was enjoying a kind of further forward position.
Well, Cole was able to get closer to Wareham because he didn't have to drop off. We didn't have to have as many numbers further back because of their lack of numbers in the middle.
And then we had Doyle Hayes and who was playing?
It's Ethan Brearley.
Oh, of course, it was Brearley.
Was probably I know everyone's talked about this already. Like that was really the kind of like revelation of that match was the combination of those two.
Yeah, that's right.
Ethan Doyle Hayes making his debut. Brearley, we already said in the Doncaster. Well, we didn't say, but in the Doncaster game, looked a little bit out like a bit at sea.
Yep.
And couldn't have an impact on it. But the two of them together, it was really looked like that is purring there.
Yeah.
They both of them just like take it and look forward.
Yeah.
Every single time. Now, they were being given, obviously, these contests, they were being given more time than they will be against some teams. But in this case, it just worked so well.
It did. And
The
Aitchison
passing was
also had
great.
space, didn't he?
Aitchison had space. Aitchison's an interesting one, isn't he? Because I think this season is like, you got to do something, or we got to move on from him. Because he's had 2 seasons where he's come in and you think like, okay, he's done some good things, but mostly in League 2. He's clearly a very technically good player.
And he's got energy and he's enthusiastic.
Well, there's all those things, but they don't add up to much, do they? Haven't so far. I've just been disappointed with him. I think he's got ability, but it hasn't. He's been injured, or when he has played, it's not just the fact that he basically hasn't scored, he hasn't assisted. I still think he's looking for his first St James's Park goal, right?
Something
he's
like that.
like number 10.
Yeah.
And it's just been very ineffective. But you could watch him play and think, well, he's clearly good.
Yeah.
He just doesn't do anything.
Yeah,
It doesn't affect games at all. So Saturday was like, well, okay, he actually has here.
Yeah.
I mean, he still didn't get any goals or assists, but it didn't actually matter on Saturday. It's not just about that. He played better than he has before.
Yeah, agreed. And he was involved in the goals that did happen. And obviously, the more goals we score, because we know we've had a real low-level number of goals, so inevitably, not that many people can be involved in the goals. So if our goal ratio increases, you'd expect that Aitchison would be involved in more. We'll see. But Saturday looked really good, didn't it? So the second goal came from a cross. I think it was a Niskanen cross. And Fitzwater gets it at the back post, who, by the way, started middle of the defence and looked really solid.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he looked really good. I think more often. I think on the whole, I think he's been really good whenever we've been called upon. Jack Fitzwater.
Yeah, agreed. And he heads it down, and it took a really long time to go in the net.
Yeah,
but it seems as if a defender kind of got in the way of it, but it came off him, and then the goalkeeper couldn't get to it. I think that's what happened. Still not quite clear, is it?
2-0 up.
That's about 15 minutes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they scored a couple of minutes later, got one back, didn't they?
Yeah, from a free kick. That shouldn't have been a free kick, but we left 3 of their men able to move towards the ball.
It wasn't a very well-defended free kick.
No, which isn't what you expect of a Coldwell team.
No.
So again, we were like, okay, how's this going to go? Because we were 2-0 up. We hadn't just sat back as we thought we may have and have done in the past. But we carried on the pressure, didn't we?
But then they're back in it. But we get to half time. Yeah, we're still on top. Their goal was a blip in the kind of story of the match. Really,
it was. And then second half, we are all over them. All over them.
Yeah.
I don't think they got it in our half until 5 minutes from the end at all.
Barely at all. Yeah.
So we saw a goal from Wareham, which we've been hoping for. And I think it was a Fitzwater head down again, wasn't it?
Yeah, because he got a goal and assist. Yeah, he's got a bit of something about him, hasn't he?
We haven't seen a striker like that since Nombe, have we?
I think you'd call it main character syndrome.
I think you would.
It's brilliant though. They've given him the number 9 shirt.
Yeah, did a big thing about it.
Did a big thing about it. He's got Stano written in the collar of his shirt.
Right. Yeah,
he's saying all the right things. You know,
spoke to the family, Adam's family, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think spoke to Jay as well, didn't he?
So then he scores the goal, he points at the number, he points up at the stand.
Does an excellent backflip.
Oh, he does a backflip first as well. And, you know, that's, you know, the same way that's how you get people, that's how you get the fans on side, isn't it? People want a little bit of you know, everyone wants a striker. They can go like, that's our main guy, number 9. Someone. Yeah.
The kids have been having to say that Tristan Kramer's their favourite player for a season. Yeah.
Oh, I know. When they say before the match, you think like you get on these bizarre, you know, people are going Joe Whitworth. You're like, your goalie's your favourite player?
Yeah, no.
Come on.
It's got to be.
It's going to be him now, isn't it?
It's going to be him for everyone. For me.
Yeah.
Of course.
Not for me.
No.
I'm a Doyle Hayes man now
Very
to the end after 90 minutes, not even 90 minutes.
What's interesting about Doyle Hayes and Wareham is there are players, aren't they? So you could see there being a Milenic Ali type switch up in the future. You know, like
sell them on.
Well, we've missed that, haven't we? Our best players have been loanees for a number of seasons now. Generally, Ali aside.
Well, yeah, all the ones that have been injured, I suppose you could say. Yeah, but yeah.
So that was 3-1, and then we get a fourth.
So Sonny Cox comes on.
So we had a big old, inevitably, correctly so, Cole goes off, and you think, okay, he's going to be protected.
No, Cole drops back into the midfield. He brings off Doyle Hayes, doesn't he? And Cole drops back for a bit.
Oh, you're right. He brings off Doyle Hayes on 71 for Cox. Then on 80, he brings off Cole and Wareham.
Well, we're well in charge of this by then. So you're thinking, come on, Sonny, let's get in on the action. He had a couple of chances and kind of snatched at them, and you're thinking, oh, come on, mate, you need to. And then he just probably the hardest of the three.
Niskanen looking good, wasn't he?
Looking good, yeah. Credit where it's due. He looks probably our brightest player in the Doncaster game, which wasn't saying much, and looked really good in the. You know, like no one's ever questioning his energy or his commitment or anything like that, but sometimes his actual kind of technique was a little bit lacking, shall we say, maybe, and but it's been better, and Fair play. And Sonny Cox poked one home, and that's 4-1, and it's just like it capped it off. Really, that's what you want. Innit?
What was good?
It's kind of a perfect day for an
Yeah,
Exeter
it
City
was.
fan, wasn't it? You know.
What was good about the Cox goal was that wasn't just a poke home. That was he ran to the right place. He ran to the front post.
Yeah.
Anticipated the ball, got where you wouldn't generally expect a striker to get, put it over the keeper's
Yeah, I
leg.
think Cox's positioning has been really good, and then when you see him finish, you think like, oh, he's good at that. But I don't know if it's like. You can tell he's got the ability, so I think maybe like with the earlier chances, maybe it's like he's not kind of got the, don't know, maybe he panics or something because he must do well in training because he's been given so many chances over the years. He's still really young, there's still plenty of time. There's so many. If you look back, there's so many examples of players that have like really got going.
Yeah.
Like at this point in his career, and there's so.
Well, when it's Gazball, as it's been for 2 years, and you know you're getting 1, 2, 3 chances at most,
Yeah.
that's going to weigh on you, isn't it? And you know that, like, there isn't anyone coming off the bench. You're the person that's come off the bench, if you're Cox, I mean. So, if he's able to be not the main hope for scoring goals, maybe that takes a bit of pressure off. Maybe you start thinking, okay, I'll just do what I got to do.
Yeah.
Because Wareham doesn't seem to mind the pressure at all. He seems to love it, and also he's creating more chances for himself. If we then have a strike force that's Wareham, Cox, McGuinness, with Aitchison, with the other, with Andrew, then you think, okay, maybe that's what Cox needs for a year, to play with really good players in an attacking sense.
Yeah. Worth saying at this point, I think, as well, we have seen a little bit of Kieran Wilson,
Yep.
George Birch,
Yep.
Charlie Cummins, and who's the other one?
Well, we've seen Dean, haven't we?
Oakes. Oh, Tom Dean.
Yeah.
So we've seen a bit of these lads actually playing.
And James.
And Ed James last night. So, that looks like maybe this year that there's a significant amount of these young players, at least at the moment, the transfer window's still open, blah, blah, blah. There's still some players out injured, but they are at least getting a bit of a look in, which we haven't, I think I'm not saying we haven't used any young academy players over the last few years. We obviously have a bit, but this seems like the biggest volume that are actually in the first team squad for a while.
Yeah, and there's a block of them and they're being used.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. So it was a magnificent day.
It is brilliant. It really was. I just really felt like it's like a performance that we've needed for like a really long time. Mm-hmm. I loved it.
Well, apart from anything else, it's 3 points on the board. It shows we can play a different way. We're not just going to be no shots on target every game. And hopefully we'll see more of that this season.
I hope so, yeah.
Then the contrast is last night, which I'm not really putting too much on. So it was the Carabao Cup away to Cheltenham, League 2 Cheltenham. I know we've played them a lot, but they are a team in the lower division to us now. And we played an absolute B team.
10 changes.
Whitworth being the only one that didn't change.
Yeah, Jimmy Woolworth's in goal, but I don't know why he didn't play Bycroft.
Well, that would be the obvious thing to do, wouldn't it? But there we are.
Maybe there's a reason for it. It seems strange to me.
The other strange choice was that Sweeney was on the pitch, started the game, but big Kev McDonald...
Well, and McGuinness.
So
they put this lineup out,
yeah,
and then everyone goes like, "What's going on?" People, this is the internet, not real life. On the internet, people are going, "Why is Kevin McDonald the captain when you've got Sweeney and McGuinness on the pitch?" So then they have to do another thing, saying like, "Oh, the reason Kevin McDonald's the captain is because Sweeney and McGuinness aren't going to play the full 90," which is the sort of thing you only hear during in friendlies, pre-season friendlies, which. Gary Caldwell seems to have treated this as, because, very much... We didn't play as many pre-season friendlies as we usually do this year. That showed last night when we, had an extra one, and jettisoned ourselves out of the Carabao Cup at the first time of asking.
Yeah.
Absolutely appalling display. A combination of kind of like... very young players with almost no first team experience, very old players, and players who have been injured for ages.
Yeah,
all starting.
Yeah. Some players weren't even on the bench. So there was never going to be any sort of like...
No, and
give it
wasn't,
till
yeah.
half-time.
Oh, hardly anyone on there.
Yeah.
Hardly anyone on the bench that you think like, well, the first teamers will come on if needs be. No, none of that.
It's strange because obviously Caldwell likes a cup run. And he's done as well in the cup.
I think we must be...
You're right. I think you're probably right. It's probably the friendly fixture schedule has...
I think we'd be going, I'll leave this one. We'll try for the FA Cup, but we're not getting involved in this. It's going to be hard enough as it is.
I guess that's the attitude.
Got a smaller budget, haven't we?
So we keep getting told. Should we talk about that now or in a minute?
We'll do all that after the break, I reckon. But is that enough about Cheltenham? Is there anything else to say?
I mean, I thought
we lost 2-0.
We lost 2-0. I thought some high points were Oliver Borey when he came on. He's got a lot of energy and he puts himself about. And actually, he was unlucky not to get a goal. I thought he came on with that half an hour to go, didn't he? I
was encouraged. I didn't think either of them played brilliantly, but I was encouraged by Birch and Wilson. Mm-hmm. A couple of times they kind of combined to kind of like, I like Wilson's movement in the box.
And although 2-0 doesn't sound that good, actually we were better after the first goal until Whitworth charitably gave their striker the ball.
Yeah, that was poor.
That was really poor.
In a way, if he's going to have a rick, I'd prefer it as in a competition where we're clearly not taken seriously.
And we were already 1-0 down on anyway. It didn't lose us the game. It just meant we weren't getting back into it.
Yeah.
Anything else to say about that? Probably not.
I think the less said about that, the better.
All right, well, we'll be back in a minute to talk about exciting things like...
Club news
and financial forecasts. Hang around if you dare.
BTS.
Welcome back to the Big Bang Theory podcast. BTS stands for behind the scenes, apparently, not the K-pop.
Yeah, I wasn't talking about the K-pop band. We can do a whole episode on K-pop if you like. I mean, I don't know anything about it.
I know that they exist.
So we'd have to have a look.
Blackpink.
Oh, really?
I think that's
Are they a new one?
I think they've been around a while, but they're big. They're all female group. There ends my knowledge of K-pop.
Are BTS still going?
Oh, I don't know.
They haven't gone sort of solo yet or anything?
I don't know. Isn't it a bit like Slipknot, like they could be replaced?
Oh, I don't know, maybe. Well, the whole thing with Slipknot was that none of them were supposed to ever be replaced, wasn't it? And then now they've changed their policy on that, and then there's hardly any original members left. Yeah.
That sounds like
Rubbish.
I'm saying you wouldn't notice if one Korean young man was changed for another one. That's not what I mean. I just think because there's so many. Are there 9 in BTS?
But there's 9 in Slipknot.
Yeah, that was my analogy.
I don't know.
A big old pile of them.
I don't know.
Blackpink, I've nothing to go on except the name.
It's weird, isn't it? It's a whole big world, K-pop and whatnot. But I don't know anything about it. I don't know why no one would expect me to. 40-year-old white British man doesn't know anything about K-pop. It's hardly headline news, is it? No.
You thought that's what his grandchildren called Kevin McDonald, didn't he? K-pop. Anyway, behind the scenes, as we've alluded to before, there's been this loan of 400,000.
Well, quickly before we get to that, the important thing, we need to pay a tribute.
Oh, that hadn't happened, did it, before?
To the departing prince, Philip Bratt.
Oh, yeah.
Goodbye and good luck.
Yeah, Bill Bratt, we've missed you already. In fairness to you, Michael, you've been really good for the club. You've been an excellent front person. It's a job that not many people could do well, and you've done it excellently.
I think they'll have a hard time replacing him.
But they definitely will. And wherever he's going, he'll be... I'd imagine we'll see him on our screens before too long. Don't you think?
Well, yeah, maybe.
He's going to do something in women's football.
So they say.
Unspecified yet, so we'll wait and see. So, yeah, good luck to you.
Yeah, good luck, Craig.
Craig, we'll give you your real name one time.
You know.
Yeah, fair play.
He's been a big, very visible part, obviously, because of the job role.
Yeah.
But some of those questions you asked the players on the way in were quite good.
No, yeah, you've been really good. So good luck. And also departing.
It's not his fault that none of them have ever given a half decent, amusing, interesting answer to any of them, is it?
No, it's not
his fault.
No, he's really tried hard to get something good.
Yeah.
So the other departing prince, Crown Prince, if you will, the Reverend Nick Hawker.
Yes.
So as we said before, he'd already left the club board, and he was then still trust chair.
Yeah.
But he's now gone from that as well.
Yeah.
Since this kind of 400k thing has continued to materialise. Gorman was previous CFO, Chief Financial Officer. Then he became CEO, Chief Exec of the club. It's all gone a bit sour.
Basically, if you don't know what's going on, or if you have very kind of, I don't know, if you're not aware, it seems like the whole thing is an absolute mess.
Yeah. Seems like this. If I was to give a 5-sentence précis, if I can try, the club made a load of predictions of how much money they would bring in, forecast, and then you make a budget based on that forecast. The forecast wasn't accurate, which happens from time to time for loads of reasons, but they carried on as if it was and overspent. They then had to go to the trust to ask for an additional loan, which happens from time to time, but doesn't make sense given that the forecast was made and then they kept spending in line with the forecast. The club then gave the money without kind of stipulation as to what would happen to that money, how it would be spent, how it would be repaid. And what we're presented with is a club board who should be answerable to the trust board, at least when they ask for the money, who just seem to ride roughshod over whoever's in charge of the trust. And so the trust goes from being owner to being kind of like benevolent uncle that lends money to wayward son or daughter ad hoc.
What do you need it for, darling?
Yeah.
It's not for drugs, is it? Shut up, uncle.
Yeah.
Just give me the money. No, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we're being a bit harsh.
That probably is a bit harsh. It's really hard to really know what's happened here. And mostly that's because for some reason we haven't had an open and honest. Just they can't do right for doing wrong. They cannot get the messaging right at all. They keep their wait till it all this kind of stuff boils up online. People coming up with to be honest, a lot of people kind of saying really kind of plausible stuff, ranging to kind of outlandish kind of conspiracy theory kind of style things.
Yeah, Taggy's
online.
built a new house.
Yeah, and then they wait till it's kind of at a fever pitch, and then they'll put out some statement, and even then the statement is completely wrong, tone deaf. It'll give you almost no information about what's actually happened, and then start talking about let's all get together behind Gary and the boys. It's like, that's got nothing to do with it. No. It's so bad that whatever's happening behind the scenes, and to be honest, if you want to know in more detail, or you want to see kind of some people with more knowledge about it, what they think about things, I would recommend the incredibly long thread on this subject and related subjects on XWeb, because there's big discussion about it on there. A lot of people kind of discussing those things you can get really stuck in. It's been entertaining, I'll be honest. It has been an entertaining read, but it's just the main thing I think of it, whatever's going on, and whether we'll find out or not, who knows, is it the messaging from the trust is just appalling.
Well,
and then yesterday they put out, after all this has happened, bear in mind this 400 grand loan was just discovered by some fans.
Yes,
it wasn't announced until they had to, because someone else found it. All this is going on. No one knows how bad what's going on with the finances. All that everyone knows is it's a mess. Then they put out a thing going I think we're thinking about putting the trust subscription up.
Yeah.
What does everyone think? Here are the options. No option for staying the same.
No.
£3, £5. That's what I mean. It's just so frustrating that are you stupid? This is not the time. And it's a good idea to put the subs up. That's been good. It's been £2 for such a long time
since the trust started.
And there's all this stuff about tax, which you don't know, but how this fits into it. But all this stuff, of all the times to float this idea right now, when we just someone's gone haven't you just lost £500,000
Yeah.
of basically, of the club's, of the trust's money. Yeah, but can you pay more? Can you pay a bit more? It's a joke.
I don't have any confidence in the current setup, given this series of events. And I hate saying that, because I think so many people work really hard, but it's just very poorly done across the board, isn't it?
It is absolute amateur hour.
What I'm proposing,
I know that they literally are amateurs,
but Dan, loads of charities exist, right? And we can name them all. There are massive ones: British Heart Foundation, the National Trust, etc., etc. There are tiny Marie Curie, thank you. There are tiny ones, right?
Save the weasels.
Sure. Enough about the Plymouth Argyle Trust. There are tiny ones, like the St Thomas Barton Fields Plant Trees charity, right?
Yeah.
The benefit of having a charity is tax reasons and gift aid reasons. That's why people set up charities, right?
Not to help people.
Yes. The general view is to help people.
Right.
The reason you turn that into a charity is for tax reasons and governance reasons, right?
Yeah.
We have a charity commission nationally that runs everything. Why on earth? Exeter City is quite unique, right? A football trust, a football club that's owned by a trust. We don't have many in the country, and we certainly don't have many that are as big as ours. But we have loads of charities that are much bigger than Exeter City, that are membership organisations. Why on earth aren't we trying to model one of these successful charities and going and asking them what they do? And all those charities have employees who know how to run charities, and then the amateurs, the trustees, who get to vote on things and get to work out how we employ things and what our policies are and what our overall values are, and then the employees implement that. Now, I know the trust has got some employees, but we could be a multi-million-pound trust, like we could be, if they decide that our subs are going to be £10 a month. I don't know if they can do that or not. Suddenly we're then bringing in millions a year, right? We need to respond to that instead of just oh no, we'll just trust the same people that have made these mistakes again.
Yeah. Also, by trying to do that at a time where trust, no pun intended, couldn't possibly really be any lower.
Yeah.
It's just going to force people to change to. Yeah, I'm going to change my trust membership to nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why would you? It's berserk.
Well, you think if I was a financially minded person, which I'm not really, but I know the people that do this, they think this thing's doomed. I'm going to stop putting my subs into that. I'm going to put them into something else so that I can invest in the next thing that's coming along. They'll literally carve out their own membership. They'll go from being this thing that's positive and that brings in this much money and can lend this much money, with this kind of amateur hour stuff, people will just scoop it right out. They'll put it somewhere else. They'll start planning for the next thing, because if it carries on like this, there will be a next thing. And I'm a big fan of trust ownership for our football club, for all football clubs, to be honest. But
yeah, there's a broader conversation to be had about how far the model we currently have could sustain itself in the changing world of English football and world football. On the face of it, it looks pretty unlikely that you could get any further than we currently are with that exact model. But there's lots of other options out there. There is, and it's not just kind of where's the Saudi prince?
No.
There's lots of different options out there, and it's not something that we should rush into, regardless of. I don't know. I just think that if you don't want people to kind of, because that's going to be the obvious, that's the most visible idea on the table. It's not going to be the 50+1 model they have in Germany. The most visible idea on the table is the Saudi prince.
Yeah.
It's the American billionaire consortium kind of stuff. That's what people are going to be. So most people are going to go well, I want that.
Yeah.
And most people maybe aren't interested in the ins and outs of kind of trust membership or whatever, but all they'll see is, this looks like a mess. That looks better. I want that. I'm out.
Yeah. But conversely, you could say, it's a mess and we're still managing to do as well as we've ever done, what would it look like if it wasn't a mess? I'd at least like to explore that before any further conversation, you know. But it's really bad. You're absolutely right. What it feels like is just reactionary scattergun nonsense. That's what it feels like. And I don't mean to do down the people on the board who are working really hard. I just think, like, have they got any help and advice
It's hard to do anyone down or do anyone up, because we don't know what's happening, because they're not saying anything. They're not saying enough about what's happening here.
Yeah.
You know, like...
I get that. We could never know what happened with Joe Gorman. Like, that's a private matter to a person's employment.
Yeah, and I think people are much more likely to accept and understand those things if you are told other things, which you are allowed to tell people, and then they're just not saying anything apart from get behind Gary and give us some more of your money. I mean,
What would your, if you could solve it now, like trust wise, what would you do with the subscriptions?
Well, I think what they've done is a sensible, good thing, just at the exact wrong moment.
Yeah,
I do think £2 a month is too low. You look at subscription-based things which are bigger than they've ever been, for people who, like, you know, for entertainment, for like music, for films, for membership to anything.
Yeah,
and almost nothing costs £2 a month. You know, almost no, even like a podcast Patreon account would probably, the lowest tier be more than £2 a month.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah,
a coffee, everything's gone up.
A bus to the football is £2.20.
Yeah, a cup of coffee costs £3. You know, like in most places, and they're still charging £2. So it seems like such an easy win.
Yeah.
To just up it a little bit, or to have a different model where it's a sliding scale on how much you
can
can
do
afford.
that, couldn't you? I'd also like to
think
see,
like that. It's just to ask that question. I honestly couldn't believe it when I saw that they were out basically going like kind of cap in hand, like begging the day after, pretty much, that they've gone like, we've completely made a complete mess of all of the club's finances and the board's finances. To then ask then to be proposing it, then it just seems. Anyway, yeah.
I suppose what happened in the second half of the meeting that wasn't allowed to be public, they said, how do we get our reserves back up as quickly as possible? We'll just email everyone tomorrow. Yeah. But that's very narrow.
Well, in a different scenario where that maybe that financial shortfall was like kind of no one's fault, and it's just some other kind of disaster, then that would have been appropriate. It would have been appropriate at any point in the last 10 years, to be honest, to put that email out. Just not right there.
There we are. That's the current. I mean, this is going to rumble on. The elections are in October, November.
Yes.
I mean, I'd expect some people to stand on a complete overhaul ticket. I'd expect.
Well, you're opening it up, aren't you? Just you're. I think it needs an overhaul.
I think it needs overhaul. And also, people were going to want to know what their trust money is being used for, what the benefits are to them. You're asking me to double or triple my the amount I'm paying.
Yeah.
What's in it for me? 10% in the shop, you get that off for anything, basically.
Well, exactly. That's what I mean. Because right now, the answer is, to cover up for the mistakes we've made.
Yes, that's right. Okay. Well, that's where we are. We're going to keep an eye on this. Obviously,
there is a fans forum, supposedly, on next Wednesday, the 20th. Details haven't been announced yet.
Even that stuff, like, it's in a week.
Yeah,
it's in a week, and with this trust meeting that was last week, people were getting their Zoom details during the meeting.
That is something which I find absolutely, again, completely baffling. How is it so difficult to send out a Zoom link?
Yeah,
I mean, that is just kind of. I mean, it's the sort of thing where people go like, "Oh, ha ha." When everything's rosy, you kind of think it was funny, innit? But when things go bad, you think like, "You guys, what is going on here?"
Yeah,
anyone can do that. Anyone can do that. That is simple, basic, and it just makes us look ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is a fan forum. I mean, that happens at the ground usually, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you better go along to that if you want, and hear some people argue.
Lovely stuff. All right.
I'm going to go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll be there in disguise.
Disguised
I won't
as
be
what?
saying anything.
Disguised as what?
Pilgrim Pete.
Oh yeah, no one would see that coming. That would be a surprise.
Yeah.
Okay. So this week, 2 games, 12:30 Saturday, Mansfield at home.
Yeah.
Again, Mansfield again, but this will be an indicator of how we're going to approach. Was Saturday against Blackpool a blip? Was that the way forward? Etc. etc. Then we've got Wickham away.
Tuesday night
on the telly, of course. So we'll have a better idea I think after these 2. Was Doncaster what the season's going to look like? Doesn't matter because I'm zen about it. Or was Blackpool the way forward?
We're going to win the league.
We're going to win the league.
Well, I think, to be honest, it will still be too early to tell after the next 2 games as well. But we have seen, a couple of different options.
If that's my only joy of the season, I think, well, okay, that's more than I was expecting, to be honest.
To be honest, the bar is that low. Yeah.
Maybe it'll get raised. Maybe it'll be raised
Funny,
right
isn't
up.
it? I don't want to be one of those people that moans about people moaning about people moaning about people moaning. But then when Gary Caldwell completely changes it and buys some new players and actually lets them attack and buys some attacking players, and they do that then all of his kind of defenders from the past go like, oh, where's all the Caldwell out people now then? Go, well, nowhere, because he's doing exactly what everyone asked him to do.
As we said all along, that was our hope. Yeah. Anyway, let's fingers crossed for another absolute thumping.
Oh, I'd love it. I'd absolutely love it.
Me too.
Let's have it. Gary Caldwell Hot Boy Summer continues. What's he going to have on this time?
Well, I don't know. Maybe he'll go like full Angus MacDonald, like white shoes, no socks,
maybe.
pedal pushers,
no
shirt under his blazer.
Wow. A blazer with like a boy band from like the early 2000s.
Exactly.
No top on underneath a blazer. That would be something.
Let's see it, Gary.
It's now or never. The shape he's in.
Too right.
Okay.
We believe in you.
Big time. I think I'm looking forward to it, because why wouldn't I? The last Saturday was absolutely joyous.
Agreed.
And I want to see him all play again. I want to see Brearley and
Doyle
Hayes together.
I want to see Wareham do that backflip.
Yeah. Absolutely brilliant. Can't wait. So off the pitch, nightmare. On the pitch, Carabao Cup aside, going pretty well.
Lovely stuff. Thanks for listening, everyone. My name's John. I've been here with my friend and colleague Dan.
Cheers.
See you soon.